Hello everyone, you've tuned into Business Today TV and I'm Akanksha. We are joined by the leadership team of Nippon Telegraph and Telecom. Abhijit Dubey is the global CEO of the company and Avinash Joshi, he is the India CEO of the company. The company, which is based out of Japan, plans on consolidating all of its subsidiaries. And today we're going to understand from the leadership while we talk to them what's the decision making behind this step. So thank you so much for joining us today. And Abhijit, sir, could you walk us through the decision? Why does the company plan on consolidating all its subsidiaries?
Thank you, Akansha. Absolutely. So the NTT Group is a Japanese conglomerate, and it started its global expansion journey outside of Japan back in 2007, a lot through acquisitions. So they've acquired a lot of companies over the years. And the decision to consolidate is, instead of being in separate operating companies, in order to drive a consistent and a more powerful portfolio and offerings to our clients and a better value proposition for our employees, they decided, and we have decided, to consolidate all of our operating companies outside of Japan into a single global IT services and infrastructure company that is now about $20 billion in revenue and 140,000 employees, which makes us one of the largest IT services and infrastructure providers outside of Japan. And including our business in Japan, which is 30 billion, we're actually in the top 6 IT services players now globally.
All right, sir. My next question is from the India perspective. I would really want to understand that how do you perceive the role of the India arm of NTT Limited in India's growth and in also the growth of the IT market, the IT sector market in India, given that India's position is as one of the fastest growing markets in the world right now?
So India plays a very strategic role for the NTT Group. India now represents the second largest employee base outside of Japan for the NTT Group. It's about 40,000 employees. Number one, in India, we power the digital infrastructure for India in the form of our data center capacity, as well as the marine cables that are now landing in India. Number two, we have a pretty significant IT services business that is serving our clients in India, helping them transform. And then number three, India is a delivery and innovation hub for all of our global clients, let's say in North America, Europe, etc.
All right, sir. And Avinash, sir, your take on this?
I think from an India standpoint, both for the domestic business as well as for global India is incredibly important. Because of the talent availability here. Also, I think in India, NTT represents all the offerings and services of NTT Global. So in a way, we are a kind of a microcosm of what NTT offers globally. So I think, and then Indian market is becoming one of the fastest growing market. Given the importance of that, given the importance of our economy, the way it is growing, I think NTT will continue to thrive and then capture that growth. I think all the ingredients for India business to be successful are already there, right from application services all the way to the data center and everything in between. So I think it's about now capturing that growth in line with the NTT's global strategy.
So, well, as the 8th largest market for NTT Limited in terms of revenue, what factors have contributed to India's growth and the potential for further expansion? Either if you could take this.
Sure. So, one is the size of the economy and then as a result, size of the IT market and going for that. I would say the constant and continuous investment in the skills and a very deep client relationships, are very important. And I think one of the two important factors, for us to grow in India. And I think the bullish outlook what we have about India. Given the opportunity exists, various different segments, whether it's BFSI, whether it's healthcare, with the advent of 5G and IoT coming in, the manufacturing becomes important. And the technology is now becoming, both IT as well as OT, operational technology, security. So these are some of the ingredients for us to, continue to grow in India.
So I want to talk about these emerging technologies, but first I have a question for Abhijit, sir. How does NTT plan to leverage the opportunities presented by the deployment of private networks for enterprises in India? And since you get in global perspective, where do you see India falling here?
Well, we're still waiting for private spectrum to be available in India. Once that is available, like in many other countries like the US, UK, Germany, etc., where that already exists. We believe that a lot of breakthrough digital value creation, let's say in manufacturing settings or warehouse settings or transportation and logistics, can only be enabled by private networks, especially private 5G networks, given the ultra low latency and high bandwidth connectivity that provides. And so once that happens, we are quite confident of the potential to drive digital transformation in many of these industries, with connectivity, private 5G connectivity being the enabler.
All right, sir. And I was reading up about your company, and I see that you've been offering this network as a service model that you're emphasizing on. So could you elaborate on what are the advantages and benefits of this model, Avinash, sir?
Sure. So, one of the things all of us learned during the COVID period is how important the network is. I mean, all of us before that, we're taking network for granted. Suddenly, I think, the number of offices what we had got multiplied like 100 times. That if you have 10 offices earlier and 5,000 employees, suddenly it became 5,000 offices. And how do you then manage the network because everybody was working in a hybrid way, right? A lot happens in the network side. I mean, the quality of service, the predictive analysis, what could you do to prevent the problem from occurring? The various different service levels, and what entity has done is a platform-based network management service. So what it means is we keep learning on the platform the way we keep solving the issues for the clients, and then really couple that with a very thin layer of hand and feet support, because ultimately you still require somebody to go and replace something. But I think that the whole monitoring, the KPI management, the SLE management, trying to understand where the problem could be, is how I think the network management becomes important. And also as organizations and enterprises go from data center to the edge data center, the network starts becoming even more important in terms of the client experience, the user experience, the application experience.
All right, sir. So my question is that could you speak a bit about your commitment to power data centers across 20 countries, which is a very global approach, and you say that you're going to do this with 100% renewable energy. So what are the steps being taken to achieve this? Abhijit, sir, maybe you could take this.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. So we have committed to 100% renewable energy by 2030, which actually does require pretty significant investments,
Yeah.
especially as we continue to build more data centers and bring them online. So a big part of that is actually tapping into renewable power sources. So in India, we are really going big on solar. So we've signed many different SPVs. We're doing the same in many of the other markets, like in Germany, whether it's wind and or solar. So it's basically doing partnerships, SPVs, etc., on both the wind and the solar side at this point in time. And we continue to be very aggressive in doing that. I think in India, we already have about 100 megawatts of solar capacity that we are consuming for our power needs in India.
All right, so now I want to focus a bit on the numbers. Avinash, so this question's for you. What specific initiatives or plans are you taking, are in your mind to achieve the revenue target range, which is around 500 million to 1 billion, specifically for India?
Right. So, we are very strong already in BFSI, but I think there is an opportunity for us to go even deeper, given the digital inclusion, the proliferation of, the digitization in the country, right? So that is one segment where I think, we'll continue to grow. But like I said earlier, I mean, healthcare, life sciences, automotive are another, industries which are getting a lot more, IT enabled, so to speak, even on the operational technology side. 5G comes into picture, you start having a lot more automation on the shop floor, and that is the area of growth. Sustainability, I think, is another important area for us as a growth.
Yeah.
Every conversation around sustainability with clients is becoming very relevant for people. I mean, for enterprises in itself, but also I think for society in large. So our initiatives around sustainability is catching a lot more momentum. And I think these are early days, but there will be these tangible solutions which will start coming in, and that will become an important factor we expect, in terms of sustainability for all the enterprises.
All right.
And I would add the last factor would be we continue to invest capital in expanding our data center capacity in India. which will also contribute to continued growth.
So like you said, like a few questions ago, you did mention that you have a lot of focus on 5G, but can you explain the company's focus in this sector, in this segment, and its implications for this consolidated business that you're building out now? What will the growth plans be? Is there any shift from the existing growth plans? Are you changing something? Could you please tell us about it?
Yeah, our strategy is as we've come together as one company. Our strategy is quite simple. We describe it as we connect and we help create for our clients. And when we talk about connection, we connect data, things, and people from the distributed edge to all the different clouds that exist. And we provide all of that connectivity at the edge to the cloud, and across all the cloud. And as I mentioned before, our belief is that connectivity is a key enabler of the next generation of digital business value creation. And that's where our create capabilities come in, where we can help clients create new business value, new products, new services on behalf of them.
All right, sir. Now I want to talk about the latest buzzwords, AI. Everybody's talking about AI, everybody's talking about ML. So Abhijit, sir, do you also see this when you speak to your clients? Do they ask you for services related to, they want to integrate it within their services? Have you been noticing this trend? And if so, how are you implementing it? Then I want to come to Avinash, sir, with the same question, but with the India perspective.
Well, I think AI broadly, but generative AI more specifically now definitely has a lot of momentum, buzz, and probably one of the top topics that clients want to talk to us about. It's got enormous implications for all of us. And definitely in our industry, it's got enormous implications for us. The way we think about it is threefold. Number one, how can we apply it in our internal processes to make us more efficient? Number two, how can we use generative AI to transform our delivery capability that we provide to our clients? And number three, what are the new service lines that we can offer to our clients in the domains that they care about, whether it's marketing, sales, operations transformation, etc. How do we take the foundational, more generic large language models, add our IP to it, and effectively use that as industry-specific and company-specific models to drive value?
All right, sir. What about you, Avinash, sir?
So I think, I'll take the step back a little bit. I mean, there is a basic automation which started happening a lot more earlier. And that was all about, efficiencies, operationalizing so that you reduce the human error and things like that. Today, we already offer what we call AI ops, which means in our services, the artificial intelligence plays a role in terms of what processes one could do, automated. What can you do as a predictive analysis, and then take those actions? I think that's another thing which is already gets deployed in our services when we work with our clients. And then I think the last thing what Abhijit just mentioned about the generative AI, I guess we just wait and watch and see how that translates into. But some of the areas what Abhijit mentioned in terms of the sales strategy, solutioning, they all will come in. But to us in India, I think the AI ops is already being offered to our clients, and we see great results in terms of both efficiencies and the client experience. As things unfold, I think this will become a lot more exciting in terms of how to experience that, both from us as well as from the end user clients.
But Avinash, sir, I have a follow-up on this. When you speak with or interact with Indian clients, do you not face any issues when it comes to adopting these emerging technologies or aiding in their digital transformation?
There are no issues as such. They are very keen to explore.
As in challenges, I meant as in challenges, which you probably come across.
I think for us to do any of those automations and AI ops and likes, you of course require some documented stable processes, and then once you know what is repetitive in nature, then you can start using that. So given the growth the market is experiencing, at times that could be one issue where how do we do we want to automate and the right process, or do you want to automate first and then change the process, right? That's really the conversation typically happens with the client. But many clients are very interested in doing the POCs for the small portion of their environment, so that just to test it, just to see whether that works or no, and then I think take the next step. There is a lot of keenness, but I think the scale what is required in India is again completely different, right? So I think to test it on the scales in India's context, I think also is another important aspect.
Abhijit, so this is my last question to you. How do you envision NTT's position now with all the consolidation that's happening when it comes to the global data center market? Maybe say in the next 5 to 10 years, how do you see your subsidiaries aiding in increasing your might in this area?
Specifically the data center area?
Yeah.
Well, I think we have committed to a strategy of continuing to invest in building more data center capacity globally, both in existing markets where we already have presence, as well as new markets. So we are already in many tier 1 and many tier 2 cities across the world. And so we will continue to do that. I think publicly we have announced as NTT Group the level of commitment and the level of investment we're going to make over the next 3 to 5 years. And I suspect that will continue. So, data center is a pretty, that business is all about putting the capital in and ensuring we have, the customer demand, which we feel is going to be very robust going forward.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking with us. It was lovely talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.